groups across the diaspora and the continent. Whereas a lot of the energy with FBA is really exclusively, and I have no problem with people wanting to focus on that. As you said in the previous clips, is the vitriol that comes with it after you say that you are a lineage. Yeah, you say I'm a lineage, and I'm FBA. Now they get, it's so interesting that they are beginning to throw this term that they haven't used in a while out there, because they know that we're on their heels in a sense, and what they're starting to reintroduce to the conversation is freedmen. So now they're reintroducing freedmen to the conversation, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today. I kind of want to, but yeah, see, they will never concede, even when they've been pretty much stopped, and I'm going to just say beat up on their points. And it doesn't take a lot to beat up on that point. And I want to say I'm approaching this conversation, and I got to do this thing because they're arguing with me as if they're on my level, and I don't even talk like this, but my father told me, your uncle, he told me, you're okay. You can do it. See, because from an African-centered perspective, you get permission from your elders to speak. Right. And my father said that wasn't too rough. So what I'm going to do is speak. And I'm going to be kind again to my dear brothers and sisters, mostly brothers over there in the FBA camp, because I do love my people no matter how lost they are. And yes, it might sound like let me just say, I'm being really genuine when I say that. And to me, I see this as a social intervention, and social interventions hurt. That I'm a therapist, and back there I do my therapy in the other office, in this office that I have here. And what happens is, when you're in the therapist room, if you have a good therapist, it hurts lots of times, because there's some reality that is put in front of you that you can either close your eyes and continue to avoid the reality, or you can literally face the reality and go through that pain. So FBA, in a sense, and I'm being genuine when I say this, because I know lots of people, or a variety of people, who actually now subscribe to the term that were once quote unquote Pan-Africanists. They're now saying they're not Pan-Africanists anymore. Right. And I understand the frustration that they have. I understand the frustration. I understand the things, but the reality is, I think they missed the lesson. And then they begin to point the fingers and blame things on one another. And they blame things on one another because they want to see progress. And they feel like there's been no progress. And in fact, the Pan-Africanism is a sham and all that type of thing, without really realizing we're at war. And these are the very same people that said we are at war, but now somehow they forgot we are at war. Why do I bring up that point? I bring up that point because if we are at war, we know that we have an opponent, we have an enemy, and that enemy is also fighting back. So anything that you could identify as perhaps a failure, understand that we're at war, family. And because we are at war, there will be some defeats at times, but you don't give up. You don't wave the white flag and say, look, I'm just going to join the easier team. I'm just going to assimilate as a black man in this culture. I mean, you can do all of that. I'm just going to find the easiest way to take care of me and mine. See, that's a very traumatic and traumatized state. And what do I mean by that? They're going to say I'm babbling because, again, their elevator doesn't go to the floors that mines go to. I'm sorry that your elevator doesn't go to the floor that mines go to. I mean, that your leader and your leaders, I don't even want to talk about who. Look, let's not mention that brother's name today. Maybe as an ideological philosophy, or one of the key figures of the philosophy, or the, if you want to call it philosophy, but I'm definitely calling it a weak ideology. You've already called it a cult, I mean, and it is a pretty interesting, and, they have so many weak claims, and even the claim that you might even hear later in this conversation that they saying we're a group. They saying we're a group. Are African Americans a group? Yes, they are a group. African American is a group, family. African American is a part of a greater population, and within that population, they are a group, an ethnic group. See, I'm saying, like, we're literally having these conversations, family. And they say stupid stuff like, oh, well, do Jamaicans have ideologies? Jamaican has a pluralistic amount of ideologies. They ask the question about, and I might play it later. They ask stupid questions like this, brother Cuz. They say, so what was it? I lost it. But it's so much buffoonery. I know I'm gonna hit it later, so I'm going to move forward. So I want to read something, and I want to tell people my major debate with FBA is this, and I want to show you this, and so that people can be clear on where I'm coming from and why I'm speaking to what I feel is an ignorant movement. So let's do this. And they're very skillful. So I think it's beyond the point of that they truly believe this at times, because if you only believe this, you wouldn't be making up lies and slipping out of this and trying to do that and, doing all this fake stuff and, you're lost. But nonetheless, let's do this. Let me go ahead, because you got something while I pull up this clip.
You get okay, yeah. I'll while you do that, I'll say, because the thing, I like the way you frame it from the social scientist perspective. I try to frame it from an education perspective. I taught. I was a teacher, good little number of years. I'm retired now, but what I end up reminding myself, one of the reasons I wanted to start talking about was I say every time I do a video on FBA, I try to start off by saying, look, I'm not against you having another name. I'm not against you. I'm not against technically your critiques. What I'm always against the vitriol. And so when I start saying is like, from my teacher's mind and perspective, I'm like, when I was teaching, I have to give these assignments to students. I have to grade them on how they turn the assignments in. I have to grade their written products. And so I'm like, I have to grade them on, do you have a strong thesis? Do you have strong supports? Like, if you don't have a strong thesis, then you got to do some work. If you don't have strong supports, or if you don't have relevant supports, then you got to make a choice. You can keep your thesis, but you need some new supports, because they don't work. They're not convincing. They're not persuasive. They're not factual. And so I use that while I'm listening to them. And again, I'm like, look, I'm not saying that I'm not against your new label. I don't have to choose it. I don't have to use it, but I'm not against you saying I'd rather be called Foundational Black American, FBA. I'm not against you saying I'd rather be, just referred to as lineage. Now, I will point out, if you say I just rather be referred to as the lineage, you are a lot closer to being a group, an organization, and a movement than when you just say I'm FBA or Foundational Black American. But that neither here nor there. When you start saying these other things about, we've always been over here, we ain't never been over there. Okay, I may have given you, even if I wanted to give you an A for your thesis, now your supporting details, you get an F, because they're false. They are not factually based. And so it doesn't, like, I'm sorry to tell you this, I had to bleed your paper to death, and now you're dead. Now you got an F. Go back, retool, come up with something else. And so that's like the framework I try to use, at least for myself, as to understand what it is they're saying. And so again, if you say I'm FBA because I ain't never known no ancestors of mine that was in Africa, okay. But like, you don't know you only know a certain number of ancestors in your life. So some of your American born but still African ancestors, you don't know. You disrespecting them too? You disregarding them too? There's plenty of us who grew up like, okay, some of us didn't know our fathers or our mothers. Some of us didn't know our grandparents. So then you're going to cut yourself. That's how much you're cutting the root off. You're only going by the ones that raised you. If you, like me, like one of my, my paternal grandfather, he passed when I was a baby. I didn't know him. So the FBA logic of only centering, only recognizing, only honoring, only respecting the ones that you knew, well, now I'm automatically disregarding an FBA grandparent.
Hold up. Did you call that logic?
I'm trying to be above the board. I'm trying to say
No. Logic is a real thing, and it's a class even. And your professor, Professor Shabazz, you like it's illogical. This is not logic. You're talking about grading papers. And what's the grade you would give them again?
Ultimately, if they presented it the way it's presented online when we had these conversations, I would have given it an F.
A what?
An F, failing grade.
Okay.
You know, if I was nice, I'd be like, here's your D minus.
Professor Shabazz, please use what is it called again? The alphabet. Look, I'm a little tired, but you use a phonetic alphabet, please.
Okay, wait a minute. You're losing me here. I would have given it an. What do you mean by a phonetic? I'm saying F, in like when Rakim said E, F, E, C, T, F.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
60% or 59% or below.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying, because that F could have easily sounded like an A for some people. F is funny.
Yeah, you're right.
F is spelled. F is funny. Yes, F is funny. Yes. F is foolishness. F is fable. F is false. F is foundational. All right.
Indeed.
All right. So let's can I play this clip really quick, Professor?
Oh, Shay, this is your show. Knock it out.
I'm hoping that I'm on the right section, because you know I'm doing this the first time. Let's go there. Tell me if you can hear it. Oh, wrong clip. Let me. Okay, this is. Hold up. Were you hearing that sound?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna back up. Tell me if you hear this one. FBA is not ideology. In FBA, to me, FBA is an identity. Can you hear that? It is an identity with an ideology. You hear that?
I hear that clear.
All right, this is where they say I'm pretty much a fool. Well, okay, let's go. Put behind it, and what do I mean? But I want really to think about this, because FBA is a subgroup of African American. Because you can't separate it. It is a subgroup of African American who has a certain. Oh, let me back up, because I think.
Let me take a drink, a squeak. Let me take a squeak.
Okay, she got to get her
you want to again. Just play it, or you want to tell us about the C real quick?
Right. It was just the conversation about delineation.
All right, cool.
Delineation.
There you go. Yeah, you're done with that.
And that's where I delineate. You know, I delineate from that mindset. And what I also want to posit, just my opening is
what mindset? What mindset, Doc? Be clear. You clear that up. You said I delineate from the mindset.
I'm coming, Doc. I'm coming. The mindset that.
And for those that don't know, the brother with the kufi, that's Asar. That's Asar.
FBA is not ideology. And FBA, to me, FBA is. You see, I gotta be clear, because you see the imprint he has a kufi on. You know, that is.
I caught that.
You hear that? The brother with the kufi. You know, this is the disingenuous. This is how just disingenuous my sincere brother. His name is Sincere. Love the God. I would imagine he used to be a 5%er, and probably used to be a 5%er or something like that. And I think the God part is not always showing, and it's the sincerity is not always showing, and that's the issue I have here with FBAers. He's just an example of many. It's an identity. It is an identity with an ideology put behind it. And what do I mean? But I want really to think about this because FBA is a subgroup of African American because it's not, you can't separate it. It is a subgroup of African American who has a certain ideological understanding that they were here, all the things he believes, which is not scientifically supported. So let me ask you a question, because could you follow what I just said?
Yes, indeed.
Could you break it down? And I'm putting you on the spot. I know you.
I got you.
Huh? Okay.
No, I got you. I understand, because again, I'll say it like maybe two ways. Because what I've always said is that like even the word itself, I would sooner say it's an ethnicity, but I would say that every label, whether we call ourselves colored, Negro, Black, African American, whatever word we use, there are some ideas, some ideologies, there are some philosophies, some theoretical frameworks, some perspectives that are inherent to the word that we choose.
Yes.
Now, they're not always 100% marred and stuck and infused together, but they do gravitate. They do gravitate towards each other. You know, if you say, like, if a person says I'm Black, I don't want to be called an African American. You can begin to understand where they're going to land on certain issues. When a person says I'm African American, you can begin to understand where they're going to land. And if certain things come out their mouth, you're not going to be so surprised. And so when they say foundational Black American, as we've seen, you can begin to see, well, okay, they probably gonna start inching towards a certain school of thought. So the identity label, the name that we use to describe ourselves, does come attached to, equipped with a certain opinion or attitude, if that's a better word for some people, or perspective, if that's a better word for some people. But that's what ideology is: your ethnicity, and then your worldview.
All right.
Now, if your worldview, if your opinion, if your collection of opinions, if your philosophical or your political ideas are not lock, stock, and barrel with your identity label, then you don't necessarily have a problem with other people who match your definition of an identity label, but don't agree with your politics, your philosophies, your collection of opinions and attitudes. Yes. And so, for instance, a Yoruba person is not a Yoruba person if he disagrees with the political perspectives of another Yoruba person, he's not going to say, well, you ain't Yoruba no more and you against me. But with a foundational Black American, if you disagree with their political perspectives, with the talking points, then they say, well, you can't be a foundational Black American. And I'm like, okay, well, now, I'm not necessarily mad that you want to excommunicate me from the FBA camp if I disagree with the bullet points. But when you do that, you prove us right when we say then it's not an identity marker. It is an ideology.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to ask you to respond to something else shortly. That where they I guess they got they utilizing one of their tactics that comes with their ideological approach to defend their ideology, their catechism. But let me go ahead and proceed, and we'll pick back up on it just to show you where I'm going. All those ideas, and then also on top of that, the part that I disagree with the most is that we can act like we don't know all the throwing your rocks and hiding your hand stuff that's going on. But if you act like that doesn't exist, you can say, well, most of the people that have sane minds don't say these things. Well, if there's a lot of them and they all represent FBA, And if you and they have these same old talking points, which is a part of that ideology, and like Brother Uncle saying, it's slippery until you start asking questions. So you ask the questions and let them. I'm not talking to you, Dr. I'm just saying in general, they'll tell you what they believe.
All right, hold on a second. I want to ask this question to the chat before I let you build, Nicely. I want to ask this question to the chat. Do anybody know what the hell he just said?
I think it was babble, and I said that he was talking about delineation.
Listen. He says, does anyone know what he just said? That's why I asked you, did you know what I was saying? One. Two, she says, and then she begins to articulate what she thought she heard. So let's listen here.
I was looking at the conversation before that, but this is what I wanted to talk about. Them trying to redefine who we are and make it what they said it is versus what we said it is.
That's what she got out of it, and she's exactly right. I am redefining it for them.
For them.
As a social scientist. No, let me not say I'm redefining it. Let me say I'm defining it.
Right.
Because they have not defined it. They don't even realize that they're operating within an identity that has ideological underpinnings. Now, maybe I can't say that about my man Sincere. To be sincere, which he hardly shows, I have to be honest. I've done some digging, and Sincere is a bit different, a bit nuanced than most FBA people, as I told him on his own show. I said, Sincere, you don't speak for most FBA. Most FBA people I hear, and that's on my post and everywhere else, are saying that it's just a lineage. I don't know. Have you heard that talking point, cuz?
I have heard that. I've heard them over and over again. Like at this point, I have not missed most. I've heard almost every talking point that there is.
So, but Sincere, on the other hand, I don't think Sincere is running away from it as an ideology. But she, my dear, I don't know my sister's name here, but what she says is I'm trying to redefine it. In fact, I get why she would say redefine it, because in her mind, it's a lineage, and that's it. And then they start to spot off. Do Jamaicans have ideology? Do Trinidadians have ideology? And I say yes. They have plural ideologies, or they have. You don't even have to say plural. They have ideologies.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they have ideologies. Yes, they do. See the difference between an FBA, and you'll hear this a little later, and an African American, which is more appropriately juxtaposed next to Jamaican or Nigerian, is more accurately juxtaposed to these other ethnic nationalities, not FBA. Because if you go to Nigeria, as you just said, within Nigeria, they have different ethnic tribes, but they also have different ideological thoughts. They have different ideologies. They have different ideologies within the group. But as you also said, there's some core similarity even across the group called the Nigerians, the group called African Americans, the group called, in this instance, FBA. So FBA is a group. I don't know why you would, your mind is playing tricks. Look, again, poor social science. FBA is a group. You can call, at best, it's a group. Cuz called it a cult. I agree. But nonetheless, they will argue that it's not a group. Let me keep playing this.
We've already had people identify us for years since we got here. Negro, Black, hell, I found some ancestors documents during my
This is the trauma that I speak about. This is what I'm saying. I'm coming to heal the community. Hey, we didn't have people define us. I get it, and I agree. But again, it's a very reactionary stance. And this is how people act and look when they're being triggered in a traumatic way. My dear sister means well, but she's misinformed. And but she is triggered because they tried to do this. They called us Negro and black and this and that. Well, hold on. Did she say black? Did she say black?
I don't know if she threw that one in there or not.
Let's back up.
Before I let you build, Nicely, I want to ask this question to the chat.
on the part where some of my ancestors were by us for years since we got here. Negro, black, hell, I found some.
Oh man, they didn't define us, and she saw that as somewhat of a not so much of a good thing in her response. Like they didn't define us as Negro and black, but she's saying we're the foundational blacks.
Again, it's like, you know, at best they would say, well, now you're just nitpicking. But I'm like, hold on. If you look at the history of the names that we have used, you might have a point. You know, you might have a point that they gave us the word colored. You might have a point that they gave us the word Negro. But around the time the term black started really being thrown up into the atmosphere, that came from us. When African American became thrown up in the atmosphere, that came from us. And so now when you say, well, we don't want black, we don't want African American because they gave it to us. No, they didn't. That's just factually incorrect. So again, if this was part of your essay, that got to go. It don't work. It doesn't help your thesis.
What's got to go?
They gave us the name African American. Look, we reject African American because they gave it to us. Okay, false premise. We're choosing foundational Black American because all the other names that we've used have been given to us. False premise. We selected African American. We selected Black.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go too far from what she said they gave us. And I'm saying nitpicking. The reality is it can be seen as nitpicking. I agree with that. But it's still genuine.
Right.
It's still accurate.
It's accurate. It's factual.
Yes.
Those names came from us, not from them.
And what I mean by factual is that that's the way that she's interpreting. There's a gap there. She said that they gave us this and gave us that in a response, which was pretty. You can tell that the sister's triggered by what the society has done to us. And I understand and I agree. But the reality is to now call yourself the foundational Black. They gave us names. But I don't really want to ascribe to those names. But then you also say, I'm the foundational that. I am the foundational Black. You didn't do much changing. This is beyond nitpicking. This is clarity.
Right.
And
right. And it's not moving too far from, like,
it's not moving at all. You're just saying we're the foundational Blacks.
Right.
Y'all gave us back. You gave me black. Master, you gave us black. You gave us black. Oh, no, them other blacks are coming. Oh, the other blacks are coming. The other blacks are coming. Oh, no, we're the foundational Blacks. We was here before them, Master.
We
are the foundational Blacks, Master. Don't let them other blacks come over in here and take our benefits, Master.
You have just articulated the spirit of what they're doing.
That is exactly.
But they won't. They won't admit it. They won't agree to that assessment. It's a little too rough for them to admit that.
I do psychosocial therapy, brother. I want to heal us. And this is what I reflect with individuals in the counseling room. I show them via a very similar way how they are acting foolishness by actually demonstrating what is going on and what is saying, what's going on in their minds.
True. Indeed.
And it's hard for some, but it will wake some up. In fact, they'll laugh at it. But some who are committed, as Dr. Ray Hagan says, dedicated to their ignorance, it won't move them, it won't move them a bit.
True.
It won't move them a bit. But let's play this clip.
Some ancestors' documents during my genealogy where it said, what did it say? Darky. Some of my ancestors were called darkies on documents. You know what I'm saying? So this brother does not get to redefine who we said we are. That's where us taking power back, you know what I'm saying, from the dominant society.
See? We're taking power back by being, oh no, we black. We not, oh, y'all gave us the term black, but let's be clear, we are the foundational blacks.
And redefining who we are our own way.
I'm be honest.
It wasn't much redefining. All you did was say, look, make sure you don't give my crumbs to those Nigerians.
Exactly.
Make sure you don't give my crumbs to those Jamaicans. Make sure you don't give my crumbs. Again, I get it. I understand. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be even some. Look, that's not my fight. I am not. My fight is not the whole reparations thing. I have not even. I don't even have not concluded any. I don't even have a conclusion about that. That is not my fight. My core argument is that this is an identity with an ideological framework that supports it, maintains it, and it then impacts the way that you think, feel, and behave to your brothers and sisters here, who you say are foundational Black Americans. But if they don't agree with you, call them tethers. You call me a tether if I don't agree with you, and I'm from here. I'm from, let's be clear, the United States. Y'all, I mean, and we can nitpick and like, why you calling yourself an American when American, which America? North, South, what? Central? What? Which America? Is that really delineating? Like, you can nitpick the ignorance of how they think it's going to work. That how they think that somehow that changing a name is going to get them their what they're just do.
The check. Yeah.
And somehow the name itself is that powerful that it's going to change a thing, and somehow writing all the, you know, the legal terms and things is not as essential as the name FBA. Look, anyway, I saw them try to change that up and try to now say we freedmen and all that type of thing. But what I'm trying to say is our brothers and sisters, we have what we call black and white thinking. There are some blind spots in all people who are experiencing trauma or have been traumatized and triggered by that trauma. They are not able to see nuance. They're not able to empathize, because what happens is it puts them in a protective mode. It puts them in a them against us mode, a black and white thinking, all or nothing type of mentality. That is why it's impossible for them to see the nuance of Pan-Africanism. Because they start to say, well, y'all also y'all like them and they're our enemies, although they say they don't say it. It's kind of like a person who's been victimized by a victim. I mean, by a victimizer per se. Let's say that someone hit you with a car and they intentionally did it. So now you start to see cars, and now you think that then you start to get triggered by cars, and you begin to have those same feelings about these other people with cars, with the person who hit you intentionally, who drove a car. Because now you've been triggered by stimuli that is not even a threat. So now you're beating up on our brother. Let me break that down for them, because I understand that maybe they go to in the 12th floor building, they go to the 3rd.
Yeah, they're gonna call it Babel again.
They're gonna call it babbling. So let's break that down for them. You know, that essentially means that people who experience trauma Let me see if I can put it in the most simplest form. Are triggered by things that remind them of the initial trauma.
Mhm.
When they come into contact with it in the present. So again, that present thing is not a threat, but because it has hurt you at some time historically in the past, you now believe that it's causing that trauma and it's giving you, it's bringing all these feelings and emotions and things up within you that keep you from being able to see that stimuli as non-threatening. So sometimes, like when you get food poison, let me just give you another example.
That's a good one.
You will have eaten some lasagna from a restaurant and it caused you food poison. And now when you see days later, even months later, you stay away from lasagna, especially from the place you got it from.
Exactly.
And you've eaten that lasagna 10 years before that occurrence. But now you stay away from it, and just the thought of it is sickening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've all experienced something similar to that. Although this lasagna probably doesn't have any type of bacteria that's going to cause you any harm, you still see it as harmful. I don't know if that's clear enough, cuz.
Well, you know, I'm 100% I understand what you're saying. Now, there could be some people, especially if you don't want to understand, then there's nothing anybody can say to make you understand. But we can throw out PTSD as another example. And, whether you look at it from the post-traumatic, I forgot what the original was, but like, wasn't it Dr. Joyce degree that said post-traumatic slave syndrome?
Yes.
Or disorder or something like that. But
syndrome.
Again, syndrome. The idea is exactly what you said. When something, when you encounter something that is bad, that is tragic, that is hurtful and harmful, yeah, your guard is going to be up. And to some extent, it's understandable your guard to be up. But there's a fine line or a thin line between having your guard up and immediately going into attack mode every time you see something that reminds you of the initial harm. You can have your guard up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, again, to some extent, I don't see a problem with anybody having their guard up. But when you make blanket statements, all them Africans hate us, they want our resources, that's that's not having your guard up anymore. Now you've gone way above to the other side of the coin. And now you just, again, vitriol and hate.
They're going to now say, we never said all. But
yeah, they do that kind of pivot.
But the imprinting, the media that they put out there, Nigerian tether, and they say Africans do this. Africans don't love you. Africans sold you to slavery. These are generalizations.
Right.
We know it's never all, but when you speak in generalizations, as I was sharing on that podcast, in our minds, we think most people do that thing. We think we know it's never 100% when you're talking about social, political science, but you're imprinting in the minds of people that most of those others do that. And there may be some exceptions, because when you say Africans do this, social scientifically, it means that the majority of these people do that. That is what that's the generality. Now you might have to use a dictionary, an encyclopedia.
Sweeping generalization.
Now
I was gonna say the dictionary, again, I keep thinking about all of these sweeping generalization, hasty generalization, like,
please break it down.
Either way, if you're not familiar with the terms, then you might have to do some vocabulary building, some dictionary stuff.
Yes.
But it's making assumptions, Now, can't nobody say they don't understand that. It's making an assumption about a group.
You have more faith than I do in that. Let's push play.
Honest with y'all, I don't know what the hell he just said.
I was just focusing on the part where he was talking about FBA is not an ideology. FBA is an identity.
Okay.
She broke down what I said. But what she missed is one point when she says FBA is not an ideology. What they're missing, I'll let it play, then I'll let you know what she at least was able to repeat it. He can't. Her elevator goes a little higher. In fact, I think it does go. It may go as high because she might have the ability to do it with better teachers.
Okay.
Your teacher can only give you what they have.
Right.
And if sincere to love God is her teacher, or you can only go as far as the people you are around. If you're around people like my man Sincere, he's stunting her right now. She was able to repeat it. It was too much for his information. It was causing him overstimulation. Just listen to how he said it was overstimulating him.
Hold up. Because he said FBA is not an ideology.
That's where us taking power back, you know what I'm saying, from the dominant Babel. This is why the word, we have the term Babel. He was babbling.
He really
and redefining who we are our own way.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know what the hell he just said.
I was just focusing on the part where he was talking about FBA is not an ideology. FBA is an identity.
Okay. Hold up. Because he said FBA is not an ideology, it's an identity with an ideology attached to it.
Attached to it.
What does that mean?
A word salad, you know what I'm saying? That's just word babble. This is why the word, we have the term babble. He was babbling.
He really was. And I'm just asking the chat because I know it can't be just me. Am I slow? Did he say something? Did he say something important just now?
Chat, let me ask y'all, if y'all understand what we're laying down here and what was said, put some ones in the chat. I know it's not many of you in there. I just want to know if you're able to follow.
Did he make a point? I'm not even trying to be funny, y'all. I'm gonna rewind it. I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to stomach through this shit again, because what did he say?
And what I also want to posit, just my opening is
what mindset, Doc. Can you clear that up? You said I delineate from the mindset.
I'm coming, Doc. I'm coming.
All right. This what we're gonna try to figure out as a family, as a group. This is what we're gonna try to figure out. What is the mindset that he is delineating from? Because that's what Dr. Ma'at just asked him to clarify. Right. He made a statement saying he delineated from the mindset. Now, we didn't play what Dewan B said. We're not going to go back that far. But he made a statement. He said he delineates from a certain mindset. Dr. Ma'at asked him to clarify that. She said, which mindset are you delineating from? And this was his reply. Y'all, we're trying to figure out now what mindset he's delineating from. Y'all let me know if y'all figure it out, because I need a little help.
Mindset that FBA is not ideology. All right. I'm delineating from the mindset that FBA is not an ideology. Okay. I'm delineating from the mindset that FBA is not an ideology. What does that mean? Because in short,
you are separating yourself from the mindset, the idea that they are trying to promote, that FBA is only a label, and that an FBA does not have a set of opinions, goals, ideas, values that guide how a person or a group understands the world and acts within it.
Now you
You're
know
trying
what,
to
cuz?
separate from that.
You know what, cuz? This is so beautiful. Hold up, cuz. Because I didn't study English.
Mhm.
I think you did.
Yeah, that was mine. That was my my claim to fame, good or bad, whatever it came with it and didn't.
And I'm not
What?
saying that I'm always using like you know it way more technical than I do.
Mhm.
So subject verb agreement and all that type of thing, you know it on a deeper level. Like I can write. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've done a lot of writing. I know how to make it work. But there's difference
Right.
between know how to write and then you know it and you know how to break it down to you know how to isolate and look at things and in a very granular level. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Right.
So when one says, so what is it called, cuz when a person does not take the context of what came before that FBA is not an ideology. So what was it? What was said? I'm delineating from the mindset, right?
Uh-huh.
That FBA is not an ideology.
Right.
Did you follow that?
I followed it completely.
Okay, now I don't think. See now, what he's not.
I don't think he's confused.
Oh, you think he's disingenuous? He's insincere. Insincere, huh? You think he's insincere?
Yes, I mean I'm sorry, like, and I'm not saying this just I'm not saying this for the algorithm chasing, and I'm not saying it to those shots, but I'm like, I don't think he is confused. I think he knows exactly what you meant. He knows what you mean. He knows the definitions of the words, but he doesn't want to engage that part of the conversation, because to engage it means that you either have to honestly discuss it and defend your position. And if your position is undefendable, then you get backed into a corner where you feel like, okay, my bad, you got me. And ain't nobody gonna do that on these YouTube streets.
Well, because I'm not a YouTuber and I'm like academic, I
Mhm.
will, because it's
Okay.
about I will, and most academics, well, people who we have to, especially
Right.
when we're having good debate, even at TNAT,
Right.
and I was, I was looking, I went and listened to this, and I said, well, maybe I said it incorrectly, and then I listened to it again, and I said, no. Okay, let me listen to this again. No, I didn't say it incorrectly. I said I'm delineating from the mindset, okay,
Mhm.
that FBA is not an ideology. What does that mean in short? That I'm delineating from this idea that FBAers espouse, that foundational Black American or the foundational Black Americans don't have an ideology. I then say it's an identity. It's an identity that has that is an ideological framework. Or let's hear what I say. And FBA, to me, FBA is an identity. It is an identity with an ideology put behind it. And what do I mean? But I want really to think about this, because
so far I don't get it. He's delineating from the idea. So far, he's delineating from the idea that FBA is not an ideology.
Listen, that's what he got out of it.
Because it is an ideology. I don't know.
Both.
I don't know.
You think he's been disingenuous, or you think that's really what he caught?
No, I really, honestly, I'm sorry. I say I'm sorry. I honestly wish that I thought and I felt like he was being honest. And I say that, and again, because I watched both. I watched you on Dr. Mayot's program, so I watched that night. I watched his response video, and immediately what what it brought me to was this background. I in conversations with students who say, I don't understand. And I'm like, nah, I done checked and double checked. I wrote up my lesson plan, and I went and had other professors look at my lesson plan and make sure I'm right and exact, and everything is clear. I got a student that swear they don't understand. I bring them into the office. We sit down. I start discussing it. They still don't understand. And I had to come to the understanding that they don't want to do the work. They don't want to be held responsible for the burden of the project, of the assignment. So they think they can get out of it if they just keep saying, I don't understand. And I think that's what's going on. He understands. But the problem with many FBA advocates is they cannot defend the crazy stuff, but they will not call out the crazy stuff. Because if they call out the crazy stuff, they feel like either they themselves or their group, their clique, their followers are going to turn their guns against them the same way they turn their guns against the Pan-Africans for not agreeing with everything.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. And I can't say that I disagree. I also have students who I have some students who just can't do it as well. But I do agree with you that he's been insincere. I mean, Sincere's being insincere here. I would hope that I would rather it just be that the elevator goes to the third floor, because at least he's honest. And I like to see my Black foundational Black Americans as being honest, because I could ascribe to the term if he was being honest and others were being honest. The reason why I can't ascribe to is because they're not being honest. And exactly. Say it again.
No, go ahead. Exactly.
Yeah, you go ahead, because I was about to say something, but I lost it.
Okay, well, again, I always say, I'm not against them using the term, coming up with the term, running with the term, rocking with it. Now, I always also say I'm not going to use it. But the reason I'm not going to use it is because they can never stop at a reasonable, logical affirmation of the term. The term for them has to come attached with a whole lot of negativity. And that negativity is what I attack. I discuss and I try to correct it. Like, if we weren't using the term FBA, if we were just still all running around talking about we African Americans, but there was this section of people who were saying we African Americans, but we ain't got nothing to do with the continent, I would be talking about their conversation about disconnecting themselves from the continent. If they were saying we African Americans, but I can't stand them Nigerians that come over here, I would be calling them out for this, talking negatively about the Nigerians that come over here. So for me, again, it is not about the label. It's about the school of thought. Maybe that's a better phrase for some. It's the school of thought that they express after identifying themselves. Hello, everybody. I'm Foundational Black American. Point number one, I hate all the rest of y'all. Point number two, y'all trying to take my resources. Point number three, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
so
one done.
Yeah. So I that, and let's see if I can go back here and kind of get off this video and move forward. And I'll be on Tahaka Bay Morse World TV tonight, family.
Okay.
I don't know how my brother Tahaka Bay is going to approach this, but definitely make sure y'all tune in. Family who's on now. We need a lot. We need, when people are speaking truth, or that that brings about peace, it gets less views, it gets less likes, it gets less thumbs up. So could you please help us by giving us a few likes up, some comments when the video actually is finalized, after we're done? Can you also share this video? Because people don't want reality, they want fallacy. So all right, let me see. Getting into where is it at? Where's the clip? I didn't got, I'm trying to do this clip thing here. So here it is. Okay, so let's close this one out and move on.
And he just said, and what do I mean by that? So he's going to explain what he means by that.
FBA is a subgroup of African American.
What does that mean? FBA is a subgroup of African American. So who are the African Americans?
Elon.
Right. Who are the African Americans? Because look, foundational Black Americans, we're not a subgroup of anybody. Who are the Jamaicans a subgroup of?
Right.
Who are Trinidadians a subgroup of? Who are Haitians, Nigerians, South Africans, the Zulus?
He's equating the label FBA against Jamaicans, Nigerians, Haitians. What he fails to realize, because I'm not sure, is he really this? Some of this has to be ignorance, because let's look at this. Because I don't know, Sincere might be sincere, because when you think, okay, let's look at this. All right, we have African Americans, right? Let me show you how smart they think they are. Because it's almost embarrassing if he really, it's almost embarrassing. I don't think, will he embarrass himself like this? Will he be that insincere, that he would embarrass himself like that? So maybe he's ignorant at times. There's probably nuance here. And then there's other times that he's really just, what do they call it? Give me a term.
I was saying that he was fake. He was faking it.
Okay,
so he's feigning incomprehensibility.
All right. So what they don't speak about is that if you go somewhere else, in fact, there are subgroups. Jamaican is not a subgroup. There's subgroups of Jamaicans, though. There's different types of Jamaicans within the country. Go ahead. You about to say something?
No, you're hitting. I was gonna say, take it from the top. He first said, we are not Foundation of Black Americans are not a subgroup of anything. And I'm like, okay, first off, in the country known as America, every race and every ethnicity is a subgroup of the large thing.
Yes, he doesn't know what it means.
Again, whether we are foundational Black American is the name, whether African American is the name, whether Italian American is the name, everybody is a subgroup of America. Now, does this mean I don't know. I honestly can't tell you if he's just talking off the cuff and he doesn't understand it, or he knows but he playing the game. I honestly couldn't tell you at that point with that. But right off the top, that's dead. No, you are a subgroup.
Right. That's why you're delineating.
Delineation makes you a sub. You are putting yourself into a subgroup.
Absolutely. Why? Because African American has been an umbrella term from what they say, that they want to be very specific, and I get it, about what group of African Americans we're talking about. And then I think she goes on to say, we're no group.
She went so far as to say, and I'm not saying her because they all say it. Elon Musk is an African American. I'm not an African American because you can say that about Elon Musk and all those South Africans that come over here. It's a talking point.
He's not.
It's not a valid argument. It's a talking point. It's not the truth.
It's not the truth. Look, I'm saddened by the fact that we have so much technology. All they have to do is a quick AI search. And tell AI to tell you the truth. Tell me the truth. Don't
sugarcoat it.
Don't sugarcoat it for me because I consider myself FBA, because AI can sometimes just make it soft for you to keep you in your delusion. But it says it, but it doesn't say it directly enough because you're not brave enough to ask the question strong enough. And we'll get to some of that later. But yeah, so there are subgroups in all nations.
In all nations.
And I think the other thing that they don't explain, I think, I told about on the main stage in the big house, those of us who are called African Americans. So there are going to be other people that's going to hate on you because you're in the house. We're not saying that other people don't hate on you. You're in the house. And then to say things like, and African Americans, Black Americans, foundational Black, whatever you want to call yourselves, we are brilliant. But our brothers and sisters across the diaspora and continent are also brilliant.
Exactly.
So sometimes we say stuff like, well, FBA is so look how we have given the world culture. That's true. But we also got to realize that we are getting the crumbs of the most dominant culture of this time. We are on the main stage. We have more access and more at our avail, although it's crumbs, than any other group of African or Black people.
This is true.
We have more resources. We have more everything as oppressed people in this society. So, yeah, you're going to get more views. In fact, they're going to show you in not so good lights. Sometimes they're going to cause confusion. You're going to have the stage. Yeah, people are going to hate on you because they see you as all like the people in country sometimes believe that when they get to America, that the streets are paved in gold.
Yeah.
Understand the media manipulation that happens that imprints on the minds of our brothers and sisters. Now I know they're gonna say that's babble because they don't understand one word, imprint. So so just look the word up. But nonetheless,
define it for
look it up. But look, so you say you've been doing a good job of making it easier. Sometimes I find it hard I teach master's and doctoral level students. So sometimes I do find it difficult to explain it in layman's terms. And so to put it in layman's terms, it's like that which becomes your thought process. Yeah, it creates the thought process, as you said earlier, perspective, the lens, all those things. I'm hoping one of those words kind of resonate and you can kind of catch it. You look like you got something over there, cuz.
I'm just trying to, look it up to some extent to look for some more synonyms, basically. Just in case, now this is what I found. To imprint an idea on someone would mean to fix an idea firmly in their mind, firmly in their memory or their character, to leave a strong, lasting, and often unforgettable impression. That's what imprint means. So they can take from that when you say such and such has imprinted on their minds. Instead of saying, well, I don't know what that means, that's some more babble, Now they got a definition. Now they can take that definition and say whether or not they agree with you or disagree with you. They can't say it's just babble.
Go ahead and tell the family.
Okay. What the thing on the screen?
Yes.
I was just saying, Babylon Don wants to, get in on the conversation. I don't know how you feel about. Well, I kind of know how you feel about it because what you said last time, and I was just like, look, you hit my channel at the proper perspective, and when I go live on this topic, then I might let you jump on there and chat it up. I ain't necessarily saying I'm gonna do that tonight because every time I try to go live, I get a phone call and I gotta hightail it out of here to go do some stuff. But I was just saying.
Okay, Babylon done.
Oh, Baby London. I'm saying
London.
Names wrong as I don't know what.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Baby London.
Because you can't make a mistake. You gotta be.
They gonna say, I'm babbling.
You can't. Yeah. Look, because even in this video, like I'm saying, is that like I had to go. I could take it that maybe I could have said the thing wrong, but as I listened to it, I said I didn't say it wrong.
Right. It's like, yeah, like anybody can perhaps misstate something, but most times when we misstate it, we still come around to correcting it before we get finished. Absolutely. Now, if somebody wants to peg you on second number 2 of a 45-second statement, see here it's second number 2. Well, then again, you showing your hand. We know why you playing this game.
Absolutely. It wasn't even said incorrectly. But nonetheless, let's finish. I'm gonna finish this out on this one, perhaps.
Okay.
The Ashanti, who are they subgroups of? Because when they say who they are and they use those terms, that's the same thing that we mean when we say who we are as foundational Black Americans. So I'm a little bit confused. We're subgroups of African Americans. Okay. All right, sir.
Because it is not, you can't separate it. It is a subgroup of African American who has a certain ideological understanding that they were here, all the things he believed.
So this is him trying to make it into an organization. That's what that is. I figured it out. I deciphered it. This is his way.
It's a group.
Yeah. This is his way of saying we're a cult. We're a cult. We're all really, we're just African Americans, but the ones who say that we FBA, we belong to this cult. We belong to this group. And
we're all dumb.
Is the leader.
And we're dumb.
Exactly.
So,
and that's the thing, y'all. We've been on here 40 minutes already. We didn't even get started yet.
All right, so cuz a quick search, it can be reference checked, but a quick search. Yes, because when I think about it, I'm like, okay, the Ashanti people. Yes, the Ashanti people. Okay, I asked quickly in Google, are the Ashanti a subgroup? You follow where I'm going here?
I already know, yeah.
Maybe you could. Do you want to finish it without me even reading it?
No, go ahead, because I was gonna say it, but it'll be better if you say what you found, because that way they can't accuse either of us of y'all just making that up.
Okay, so the Ashanti are a major subgroup of the larger Akan ethnic group in Ghana. I'm going to stop there. Is more, forming one of the largest and most influential peoples in the region, known for their powerful historical empire, rich culture, centered around Kumasi. All right, what do you say to that? So he actually spoke to. He actually proved my. I mean, literally in this case, he literally.
Exactly. But and again, that's the the whole thing is, I think I had said something earlier. Again, it's not that you are trying or I am trying to make them look dumb, like she said. What we are trying to do is just correct misinformation. It's incorrect to say African Americans are not it's incorrect to say any group of people within a nation are not a subgroup.
Absolutely.
And so when you bring up the Africans don't do it, yes, they do. The Yoruba have subgroups, the Igbo have subgroups, the Khan have subgroups. And even within the subgroups, they still have smaller subgroups.
Right.
So we all have our group, our subgroup, and then divisions within our subgroups. And this doesn't mean that you're dumb if you don't know it. Now, you might be dumb if once you've seen the definitions, once you've been given the correct about something, and you still say, I'm gonna still stick on my point. Well, now those nasty adjectives might apply.
Right. So let me do this for you, cuz technology is beautiful. I just wish we would use it. And are you still talking?
No, I'm reading. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to do this. I'm gonna switch to another window. It might look the same, but it's a different window. And basically what I'm doing here is, let me see here. Where is it at? Okay. I think I lost the tab. Where is it at? Hold on. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there. Okay. So anyway, I think I lost the correct one, but let's go here. Let me share this tab. All right. Do you see the does it look the same? Or is it a different something?
It looks mostly the same.
Is it me, Dr. Maya?
Yeah, this one looks like it looks like it's just maybe the original one. I can't.
Okay, yeah, it is the original one.
Oh no, it's still Sincere's page though.
It's still Sincere's page. Yes. So I put here. Look, what is Dr. Asar? Look, you see AI is on. It can tell you what's going in the video, right? You see that? Can you read that?
I can see it a little bit. What is Dr. Asar responding to when he says it's an ideology? Yeah.
You can read that?
You want me to read it? Okay.
No, I'm saying can people see it?
Oh, can I read it? Yeah, the people can read it if they're watching. Yeah, they can read it.
Okay. So AI, it can pick up exactly what's being said. I just want to make sure, so I put in, what is Dr. Asar responding to when he says it's an ideology? It says Dr. Asar is responding to the discussion about the FBA, Foundational Black American Concept. When he states it's an ideology, he posits that FBA is not just an identity, but an identity with an ideology behind it. He describes FBA as a subgroup of African Americans with certain ideological understandings, particularly the belief that they were here, which he claims is not scientifically supported. He also expresses disagreement with throwing your rocks and hiding your hand behavior, and the notion that those representing FBA have the same old talking points as a part of their ideology. So if they couldn't catch it from me, maybe, I teach my students, you can go to, let's say, AI and break down complex books, because there's books that students read and it's the first time they're reading them. And I say, well, put that in AI. Ask them about what Paulo Freire means by the banking concept, or interest, or what dear brother, critical race theory, Derek Bell speaks about when he says interest convergence and all these different things, So do that. So because it can break it down for you, you know what I mean? And so AI in the same video, which goes into the transcript, understood it. And it also, I want to point out something. It also goes into, if you read this as a whole, the question the question at hand that he said, did he ever respond to it, or was it just babble? This will tell you exactly what I'm calling the mindset. Let's go back. Let me read it all at one time. Dr. Assar is responding to the discussion about the FBA, foundational Black American concept. When he states it's an ideology, he deposits that FBA is not just an identity with an ideology behind it. That's part of the mindset. He describes FBA as a subgroup of African Americans with a certain ideological understanding. Mindset, ideas. Ideas make up mindset. Ideology, ideas. Particularly the belief. Beliefs are part of your mindset, that they were here in America, which he claims is not scientifically supported. So there's also this belief that they were already here in America. Whether you agree with it or not, that is not the argument here. The argument is this is part of the mindset, the ideology. He also expresses disagreement with throwing your rocks and hiding your hands behavior, which essentially notes, he goes on to say, let me just read it. He expresses disagreement with the throwing of rocks and hiding your hand behavior and the notion that those representing FBA have same old talking point. So I'm speaking to these FBA talking points that I disagree with. And you act like you don't say these things. You act like you don't do these things, but you do it. Then you say, well, we're not talking about all. So the thing is, I disagree with that mindset. I disagree with the ideology. The main point is I disagree with the idea that there is let me back up, that FBA is just a pure lineage with no idea or ideological underpinnings. Now, going further, and why is this essential? And my argument has always been the same. And did your screen change, cuz?
Yes, you got it.
All right, I'm learning some things here. So if you see here, my argument has always been the same. And I'll read it. For those who don't know, FBA Talking Points, this is a post debunking their claims. I had to put that up there because even many of our brothers and sisters didn't even know what, and I say our brothers and sisters, let me be clear. FBA are my brothers and sisters. But when I'm now saying in this case, I'm saying those who are coming in defense of Pan-Africanism. They'll come and they may not know the talking points of FBA. So when they read this post, they're not sure whether or not this is supporting FBA or is against FBA. Or I don't like to say I'm against the thing. I like to say I'm just for African or Black unity. I'm for Black unity. That's what I'm for. Not against FBA. I'm for Black people coming together. FBA, I put here, is an identity with an ideology, and it predates all of these videos. FBA is an identity with an ideology, not just a pure lineage, as some attempt to argue. Dr. Dennis Assar Winkler Jr., PhD. I must tell you, I teach multiculturalism. I teach diversity. I did an entire dissertation on racial identity and trauma, and I understand the relationship between racial identity and trauma, Black identity specifically. So let me read this. For those who don't know, again, FBA Talking Points, this post is debunking their claims. I start off by saying, let me be clear. FBA is a socially constructed identity category. It is framed around lineage, but it functions as much more than a neutral ancestry label. People can choose to affiliate with it or not. That is their right. But let's stop hinting it's only about lineage. It isn't. FBA is also an identity system with a developing ideological project, a cluster of beliefs, talking points, and boundary drawing practices that typically come with the label. In other words, it's not just a label. And let's be clear, you cannot really separate that project from the brainchild and ongoing PR machine. I'm not going to say anybody's name. Whether people like it or not, he is the originating thought leader and mastermind behind how FBA has been framed and promoted. This is Social Science 101. Identities are never neutral. Every identity carries ideology. You cannot cleanly separate the two. Identity and ideology work in tandem. So when we talk about FBA, let's at least be honest about what it is. A chosen social identity organized around certain genealogical claims with an emerging ideological framework that is historically tied to a specific thought leader, not merely a neutral lineage category. Now, I know there was a lot of syllables there. Just copy and paste it, put it in chat GBT, and let it break it down for you. I understand. I am being honest. I teach my students to do that because sometimes things are a bit too heavy. Sometimes words are overwhelming. Sometimes concepts are a bit too intense. And if you, I'm going back. And if you want a full dissertation on Black identity, feel free to Google me. And I'm certain you'll critique me with limited understanding. You'll know more than the 3 PhDs that actually approved me. I understand. Let's do it. Have fun. And so it brought about some conversation, right? And then of course Brother Diallo got on there, and I had a whole brother here. I think this brother here, Diallo said, "What's the ideology?" I answered it, but I won't say how I answered it. Well, I'll say I answered it because I'm not talking about anybody. I said I haven't quite labeled it yet, but it's either Tariqism or Nasheediism. So, or Nasheedian. So, these talks came around, and then Rory Frizen, I guess, says it's literally just a binary lineage. It is you is or is you ain't. It is literally just a binary lineage. It is you is or is you ain't. Can you read that, cuz? Or is it too small?
Yeah, I can't see that one. Let me see.
You can't see it? Okay, let me plus this up. Can you see it now? Oh, shoot. Can you see it now?
I do see it now.
All right. So he says, Rory Frizen says, wrong. It's literally just a binary lineage. It is you is or is you ain't. You can change the definition. See, they're saying I'm changing.
Mm-hmm.
This person is saying I'm changing it, and they are saying I'm changing it. Who's right? They're FBAers. You can't have it both ways. Now,
right.
I do understand there can be subsets of any movement, so you can debate that. But I do want to actually bring some attention to that there is a variety of thought or variation of thought within FBA itself. And FBA always claims, or let me just say, FBA often claims that Pan-Africanists can't agree on things. Pan-Africanism is much more global. It's a larger movement. And guess what? The FBA is a very small movement, and they can't even agree on things. And he goes on to say, let's see what he says. Look, this is the Nasheedian talking point. You can change the definition and create a straw man to represent anything. So then they go to AI. And AI says, look, he goes to AI. I think it's a he. The term foundational Black American is a contemporary, often political ethnic designation referring specifically to the descendants of enslaved Black people in the United States. You see it's highlighted? Is highlighted?
Yeah, it's highlighted.
It says the FBA identity emphasizes a unique lineage and cultural heritage, distinct from broader terms like Black or African American. Now, even look at this definition. It's calling the term broader. African American is broader. So that's why I'm saying that the word FBA is a subgroup or subcategory of the broader terms.
Exactly.
AI that this person used also supports what I've been saying, which it goes on to say, which can include recent African or Caribbean immigrants. So again, FBA is a subgroup of the African American umbrella term, and that's the reason why you're creating it, but you don't know it's a subcategory or subgroup. Again, these are the people who want me to debate with them. I am telling you, I am psychoanalyzing and I am teaching you. You ain't on my level if you want to use ain't. You not on my level, you not on my level. Okay? My Baba told me it's okay to say that. You ain't on my level, sincere. Or maybe you are, and you're being insincere. Either way, it's problematic. Maybe you are on my level. You don't have to go to school sincere to be on my level. I got beautiful people I know that never even graduated high school. Got what I'm trying to say? That are brilliant. That their elevator goes to the same floor or can go 2 floors higher. But you ain't that one. Or maybe you are, but that means that you're disingenuous. Either you're disingenuous or your elevator's broke. I'm sorry, hold up. Maybe it just doesn't go to the third. You're in a 3-story building. No, we're in the same building, but hold up. You're in a different building. Let's say that. You're in a different building. You have 3 flights. You got what I'm saying? Compared to 12 flights. All right. So let me just read this over again and then I'll move. The term foundational Black American is a contemporary, often political ethnic designation referring specifically to the descendants of enslaved Black people in the United States. The FBA identity emphasizes a unique lineage and cultural heritage distinct from the broader terms like Black or African American, which can include recent African or Caribbean immigrants. And this is the reason why you've created this subcategory. Because you want to delineate, to be more specific. You said the word specificity, but you don't even understand what the word that you're using. The very reason you want to delineate from African American and create a subgroup, that is delineation. All right. So, all right, that was he told me, Roy Friesen said wrong. It's literally just, look, we are teaching here. We are psychosocial analyzing as well. And I know Cuz got some stuff cooking over there. I can't see him, but I know he's waiting patiently.
No, I'm good.
Looking at my screen. Again, Roy Friesen says it's literally just a binary lineage. It is you is or is you ain't. Now, I can understand that, and that's horrible English, but I'm not going to judge it because it ain't our primary language anyhow. So you can change. No, I get it. This is African American vernacular. So I got you. I won't mess with that. You can change the definition and create a straw man argument. So I changed it. This person gave me that. And let's see. I reply. I say, Roy Frizen, did you also search like this? Can you see this, or is it too small?
You get it. You blow it up a little bit more. It's seeable.
Oh, it didn't. It ain't gonna.
Oh, and then
yeah, if you're on a big screen TV, they might be able to see it.
Yeah, they can see it. I'm just on a regular laptop, so they can see it.
And they can scroll in with their phone, family. So
yeah.
I said, did you search like this? I was trying to be really, sometimes you're really trying to help people therapeutically through this process. And, like all clients and patients, they're resistant to change. And that's also understood, because it's a lot to have a belief, and beliefs are very hard to change. There's something called dissonance that happens when new information comes in that competes with the information that you currently have. So I understand it clearly. You understand? I do understand. And so with that, let's read what I have here. Let me go back to the page. I think I'm off the page. Okay. No, that's the wrong page. I'm not gonna read. I have other stuff, but I'm gonna close this out because I gotta get on with Tahaka in about an hour and a half. So I asked. The response was yes. The foundational Black Americans movement has a core ideology, because he's arguing that it doesn't have a core ideology. So I said, so my point here is I'm going to use the same tool you use and ask a question about whether it has an ideology. Why didn't you just ask if it had an ideology? Why did he go to Google and not ask that? So yes, the same tool said, yes, the foundational Black American movement has a core ideology centered on lineage-based identity and policy goals, particularly regarding reparations exclusively for descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. Core tenets is a lineage-based identity, reparations as a primary goal, foundational builders of the nation, political nonpartisanship, and focus on tangibles. Now, there's nothing like this is the clean version, but it's still an ideology according to your source, the one that you chose to use. So what I'm saying is people don't know what they're doing. I said, Roy Frizen, if it were just a lineage, we wouldn't see political framing, cultural boundaries. Then I have to add Nashidian dogma or FBA apologetics. Put all of that together and you have a full ideology. Whether people want to admit it or not, you can't be political without some form of ideology, and certainly not cultural. And this is not responding to my thing. This is responding to him. Do you want to come on my broadcast to discuss this? So look, I was responding to this with that because it clearly says here, even in his own AI search, the term foundational Black American is a contemporary, often political, ethnic designation referring specifically to the descendants of enslaved Black people in the United States. Now let's go on. FBA identity emphasizes a unique lineage and cultural heritage. There's no apolitical cultures. There's even heritage and culture it's ideologically driven, distinct from broader terms like Black. So they ask questions. Do Jamaicans have ideologies? Yes, they do. They have a lot of them, just like African Americans have a lot of them. And FBA just happens to hold one of the has a tighter ideology, who they say are able to be and who are able not to be or not able to be. Right. So that's that. Cuz what you got?
Again, somebody said I was about ready to pop. I'm cool. I'm calm. Again, the idea is when you stick to the ethnicity label marker, you're okay. You're safe. You're standing on solid ground. But they can't do that because it's more than that. They can never just say, we want to be called foundational Black American, drop the mic and walk off. If that's what they did, no, there'd be nothing to talk about. Everybody that is thinking critically about the subject had no choice to be like, okay, but y'all saying some things, y'all doing some things that's way more deep, way more serious, way more negative than just a name. And that's what the ideology is. Like I said, if for some reason they don't like that word, if that word offends them, I say school of thought. But there's a plethora of terminologies that they can use so that, if they can't stand that word, but they cannot divorce themselves from the fact that they have a very negative and extreme point of view, perspective, philosophy, set of opinions that they are rooted in and that they are attached to. And that's, again, like you said, that's what an ideology is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have confusion about it
Mm-hmm.
because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you have a right to call it something else. Use a correct simile. But you're not going to get away from the fact that there are tenets to the label. It's just like, and I know they'll hate it. It's like a religion. If you go against the core tenets of the religion, then most co-religionists are going to say you deserve to be kicked out of the group. You can't say I'm a Muslim, but I love me some pork chops. You're getting kicked out. You can't say I'm FBA, but I love me some Ghanaians. You're going to get kicked out.
Even the ones that sick, you know what I mean? Like you can delineate between the Ghanaians who are more Pan-Africanists and those who are more traitors, but they still don't want to do that.
They still don't want. Yeah, they want absolute. It's like Hitler. They want absolute loyalty.
Hold up. Let me back up, I want to correct that because I don't want to be like them. That they would not agree with that publicly. Although I'm looking at the intrapsychic level of this.
Mm-hmm.
Is one thing to say a thing, right? Like people say things all the time, and they say, "Well, we always say that it's not all Africans, it's not all Ghanaians, it's not all." But the reality is, people say that, but intrapsychically, when you say that Africans do this and Jamaicans do this, in your mind, intrapsychically, on deeper levels, on the subconscious level, when you speak like that, it is indicative of that you really feel like that on an emotional level, although on an intellectual level, you may know that it's not all, but on an emotional level, which most of them are operating in, that is how you see it. Although when you slow down and you can intellectualize, it's kind of like, let me give an example. It's kind of like your wife or husband is not the problem. You know that they love you, but when y'all get in an argument, you can't all that stuff that you think when you like. When y'all not in the argument, all that stuff, you know they're not your enemy. You know that they have your best back. You know that they love you. You know that you're ride or die. You know all these things until y'all get in a serious argument and you get triggered. And that person becomes your enemy. And FBA is operating in that heightened state.
Right.
And that heightened state has them doing that. And anytime you're triggered, Africans become the problem, and no Pan-Africans does this, and Pan-Africans always do this, and always, because that black and white thinking is a very reactionary form of thinking. This is a psychoanalysis, psychosocial analysis. Let me be clear, and this is a psychosocial diagnosis, not a clinical diagnosis, but it is a psychosocial analysis and diagnosis. So, because I got this one, my main man, this is my brother for real. I'm being real honest here. This is my main man. This is my brother. and then we're gonna close this thing on out.
Okay.
My brother. Let's see where my brother. Where's the tab at? Okay, so this is my brother. All right, you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I see it.
And this is my main man for real, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, we go back. New York City. We've been in some organizations together. He respects me. I've been on his platform. That's why the only reason why I'm even bringing him up, because he is public,
Mhm.
you know, and he's public about this issue, you know. And I'm telling you, like, I love this brother. I'm being for real. So I am not. I know he's genuine. He's genuine. He's one of the genuine ones. I know if I talk to him, I know that even if he and I talk right now, that he and I would be like, it wouldn't even be this wouldn't even be that serious talk, and we'll be able to reason. I know this. But I want to talk about this post here that he put out, which actually ignited me actually diving into this.
Mhm.
This is after the when they started coming for Baba Small for the statements that he said that some was taken out of context, and I would probably say that, you know, it was taken out of context because somebody, you know, I'm not even, look, he's still right. But some other aspects were taken out of context or weaponized against them. Just like they come with these stupid clips and try to weaponize these things against people in general. But nonetheless, my brother Ted Cromwell, and I'm telling y'all again, this is my good brother. You know, I love this brother, and this is sincere. Not sincere to God. Sincere is not my brother. He's my brother. No. Let me back that up. Sincere is my brother as an FBA brother. I can understand it. I don't identify as FBA, but I understand where he's coming from. He is, if it just was a label and it didn't have all the other stuff, Sincere is my brother. The sister, she's my sister. Brother Ted, on the other hand, is not. He and I have more of an interpersonal relationship. And what I'm saying is we have had long conversations. And we reason really well. I mean, I've been on his podcast. Check his podcast. Our good brother, OG Wisdom Podcast. Him and his brother, I think is P Gutta, and then the sister. Yo, they've been doing work for a long time. You know, and sometimes you about to say something.
No, go ahead.
You know, but sometimes, you know, Tad do throw out little things like I'm saying it like if you don't get it, you don't get it, and I get it. Tad is really being honest. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I see his frustration. I really do. I understand why he's frustrated, because he really believes what he believes this thing in, for whatever reason. George Macon, because I think Tad want to see change. That's the reality. Tad, one of those brothers, perhaps, you know, the brothers that's like tired of hearing talk when they come in the room. I'm tired of this. Because Tad literally is a doer. I'll be honest. Tad is a doer. And sometimes you can get so tired of anything. You want to see some change, and you get tired of seeing people around you who say they this and they ain't doing a thing. And that's going to happen in all camps. That's a reality. That's going to happen when FBA, if it evolves to something further. If you'll start to begin to realize that a lot of people in FBA are just talking, it's not going to actually reach the destination that in the way that you think it is. FBA, you're going to see that there's people that's talking the thing, and you're going to see there's people who's really out there trying to push it. I know if Tad gets in the thing, that he really means it. So he's going to push it, and he's going to push it hard. But not only is he going to push it on a intellectual level, he's going to actually do his best to apply it. In a sense, it's not like he's not already applying it. He has already applied it. But the frustration, I believe, has him over here thinking this way. But nonetheless, Brother Ted, if you watch this, I love you, brother. And that's with all sincerity, not sincere love the God sincerity. This is true sincerity. So he puts this post up, and I see it, and I try to do George Macon. And George Macon, I think, gives the worst interpretation of what Dr. Smalls or Baba Smalls has said. You know, and then he just posts this. You see, he just posts the link. It's nothing more, and then people start responding. My man Sean, that's a good brother too. They both were in the same organization in New York. Sean is out of the country now. Sean says a good video. I think Elder Small saying it's becoming extreme now. It also benefits Tariq, and I love Brother Sean. Brother Sean, we all in the same organization. You know what I'm saying? And good brother, we still talk time to time. Tad, we talk time to time. Good brothers. But this is what Brother Sean is saying. A good video. I think Elder Small is saying it's becoming extreme now. It also benefits Tariq financially as a podcaster to create more of a division. Checking each other, I have no problem with, but Tariq does move like an agent, he says. That's not me, family, saying that. But you know, I'm not even gonna say my opinion on this podcast. I don't want y'all to, you know, this is what my brother's saying. Plus, he's been goofy since Mac lessons. So what should we expect? His former mentor, Rosebud, don't even mess with him. I don't even know who Rosebud is, but so, Tad is speaking about it's more about Small's hypocrisy and contradictions. I'm one to say Baba Small has said things in nuanced ways that seem to contradict at times, and I would be the first one to call it out. But but the idea that in this case, no, he's very clear. That's what I want to say. Let me see what Ted says here, by the way. He says, it's more about Small's hypocrisy and contradictions. Tariq is not the leader of FBA, a.k.a. Friedman, but folks study so much African history, they don't know Black American history, and then try to lump it all in one big pie. I can agree to some degree with that statement. You know what I mean? But I do think that there's folks that definitely do both. In fact, I would say the majority of our culture who studies African history, African American history, more than they study African history. So there's no deficit in studying African American history. Most of us, I teach diversity classes and all these other things, and they have very little in these classes, multiculturalism and all that type of thing. I'm talking about the master's and PhD level about anything that pre-exists our enslavement, and if they do include it, it's a blurb. So again, we have to look at this on a greater level. Most people, Black people who study African or history from a Black perspective, is studying African American history.
Exactly.
They're not studying African indigenous cultures and all those type of things. The schools don't even teach it like that. You're not saying holistically they don't. I'm just saying most people study Black American history, which you're calling FBA, or American history, which includes FBA.
FBA.
I am FBA like Wyclef is Haitian. No, you're not. You are. But no. Let me back up. I'll give you that. That is how you want to identify, just like people want to identify in other ways. But it's not the same. That's what I want to say. You are FBA, but it is not something that is the same. And we spoke about it earlier. That Haitian is a category equivalent to African American, and then there's subgroups within the island, and so on and so forth. Jamaican, like for example, people. Let me give you an example why you can't say this, even if you just use an race as a category. You can't say Jamaican because Jamaican and FBA are the same, because FBA is a delineation from the broader category of an African American, and even on top of that, American. So one American is a is the term that's greater, the greater umbrella term. And then there's a subgroup of American that is African American. And underneath African American, you have these different political identities. Some people call themselves, even whether or not they agree with it or not, they all are these different political identities that fall underneath these. Let's just stay with FBA, because I think the FBA, if it wasn't, I think FBA is probably to stay on FBA is the best, because FBA, if it didn't have the vitriol, then I could identify as it. Mm-hmm. If it didn't have the Nashidian ideology, if it didn't have all the misinformation that we were here before, and Ivan Van Sertima told us, and Ivan Van Sertima, even if Ivan Van Sertima was correct about his information, he's never used it the way that you're saying he used it. He's never said that we were these civilizations, first and foremost. He actually said that there was some contact, you know what I mean, with these people, and then there was influence and all that type of thing. You are saying that look, you are making the Native Americans black. I see the images. You are taking images and giving them quote unquote Negroid features now. Like, that is horrible. And I understand how you see these things online and it just shares quickly because it helps you feel good about yourself, something you didn't know about yourself, and you knew it was something missing. The missing part is not that. The missing part is that you've been, the part that you hate the most is the African part. And that is the work that we must do. The African part is the hurt part. It's easy for us to say, I got Indian in my family. But it's not easy for us to say, I got African in my family. Most people in America have never been Pan-African. Most people I'm talking about black people have not been Pan-African. Most of them have subscribed to things that are very similar to FBA, and that's why it's easy to take on like a wildfire. But but a lot of us even see the vitriol in it, so we don't want to be a part of it. But if the vitriol wasn't there, it would take storm, because it would take on a form, but it's not, because it's vitriotic. So again, FBA like Wyclef is Haitian or Shaba is Jamaican. But let's look at this. Jamaican does not tell you, it does not delineate black Jamaicans from Asian or Chinese Jamaicans or the Indian Jamaicans. So some would say, oh, they don't call themselves African Jamaican or Afro Jamaican. I'm not quite sure that's true, but I understand if they don't even call themselves that. I'm certain if you look it up that there is something called Afro Jamaican. I've never even looked it up, but I'm certain if you look it up, there's a term. But there's not as much of a need of a term like Afro Jamaican, because people just think that Jamaica is black because the island is almost 100% black. But you do have these other subgroups that are not black. So then to delineate black Jamaicans from Chinese Jamaicans, you would have to create something like a FBA type of moniker. So there's definitely something called Afro-Caribbean. I'm certain that you'll find something like African or black Jamaican or something to differentiate them from other Jamaicans. They might have their own terms. There's going to be something to differentiate. I didn't even look it up. I just know, because I know how to follow reasoning. Logic, as Proper Perspective said earlier, he gave them logic. I take back, I said that's illogical, but I'm Proper. Are you looking that up? I'm not sure if
you know I looked it up.
I'm
I looked it up.
I'm sorry, I did. I don't know if I'm gonna be wrong, but go ahead.
No,
give it to
you. Right. You right. I looked it up just like with the thing there, the Google AI view, and it says yes, many Jamaicans identify as Afro-Jamaican or Black Jamaican because they are predominantly of West and Central African descent, forming the largest ethnic group, and embrace this heritage through culture, language, patois, and spiritual practice like Rastafari, connecting their identity to the broader African diaspora while maintaining unique Jamaican pride. And it goes on and it talks about the different, there are other points about this. The fact that, and I'll say, something that I don't think too many people are aware of. Jamaica is not 100% black. Now, it might be 99, it might be 98,
it's high.
but there are other races and other ethnicities in Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Now, just because you don't see them all the time, don't mean they ain't there. There are Chinese people. And I don't mean like there's a new wave in the 2000s, in the 2020s of Chinese, and a lot of Jamaicans are calling them invaders, but there are people in Jamaica who have been there for hundreds of years. And they're not the Afro-Jamaican, they're not the black, they're not the African stock like we are. They are literally of Chinese descent, of Indian descent, and etc. And they call themselves Jamaicans in certain groups and in certain conversations. And in other groups, they would call themselves Chinese Jamaican or something of the like.
Absolutely.
Every nation has various groups and subgroups, various races and sub-races, or that's the wrong term, but again, the idea that all of the Jamaicans just got Jamaica, no. And when you get in there and you deal with them and talk to them and whatnot, a lot of Jamaicans, because a lot of Jamaicans are Christian oriented, a lot of them have problems with Rastafarians. But again, what they don't do, they don't say that the Rastafarian is no longer a part of us.
Since we're doing an AI game, we might as well keep it going.
Okay.
Share this tab. So if you look it up, you see, is there a term to differentiate blacks that moved to Jamaica first and second generation? Because we're not. Say it again. Good question.
Uh-huh.
I mean, and I'm saying we have to probably investigate this further, but just a quick search, the same technology you're using. Let's keep all things equal. There's no. So the answer is there's no single, formal, or universally accepted specific term within the general population of Jamaica to differentiate between first and second generation black individuals who moved to the island. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to know how to ask the questions. That is what people who really practice and really are trained to do these things know how to do best. You have to ask the questions. And every time you ask the question, you will find out that FBA makes no sense. And no one wants to talk about what I just showed you, that even if you were to move in to Jamaica, you would also benefit from, what do they call it, CARICOM or what have you. You would benefit from their reparation movement, because the way that is being dispersed is not delineating from those who have moved. And I'm not saying there's no beefs anywhere. It's beefs everywhere. But what I'm saying is there's no, so there, even their reparations movement, or the way that they're talking about it there, it would benefit you, my black brother, if you move there, your children 3, 4, 5 generations later. And when they have a patois, when they're speaking patois, because they will begin to speak patois, and you will too, a little bit. You know what I mean? So you will speak a little patois, and you will also become a part of the culture, and then your children will become a part of the culture, and they will also benefit from CARICOM. And that right there, you can check me, but check me. I'm okay to be wrong, but from my research, little research that I've have done in the past, it says that. And that you see here again, they don't know how to hold things equal. They don't know how to look at things scientifically. They don't know how to do that. So, all right, let me close. Let's get back to this, and we're gonna close out for real. I'm trying to be out here by 8:30. All right, so let me get to okay. Am I back on my brother Ted?
Yeah, Ted's on.
So again, I wanted to show him that there's no leader. Go ahead.
When you finish, before you click it out, I want to make a comment on part of his statement.
Okay, so I'm gonna read. There's no leader of ethnicities. So this isn't about Tariq. FBA is not an ethnicity. That's the problem. You know what I mean? It's a ideological, it's an identity with it's a subgroup of African American, but I'm even giving too much grace to call it that, just to be honest with you. At best, I am giving grace to even call it a subgroup, just to be honest with you. That is stretching. But nonetheless, it's a good thing if I call it a subgroup because it's made it to be something. But it's nothing. It's an internet movement. That's what it is. And my brother says here that there's no leader of ethnicities. And no, he's a thought leader of this subgroup we call FBA, or and subgroups can be, you know what? Cults are subgroups as well. See, it gets more granular. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like again, like I showed you, the African American itself is a subgroup of American. And underneath American, FBA could be, I don't even think FBA makes it to that level of subgroup. I just think it's further down, actually. I think it's more on the same level as someone who called himself a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? It's more like it's a social political subgroup. In fact, it could be juxtaposed to some degree of I would say, yeah, let me think about that. But it's close. If it's not on the same level, it's definitely, it's not on the same level because one is more global. So let me not say that. But it's definitely on those who identifies. Yeah, it's closer down in that realm. I'm not saying they're on the same level, but they're more granular versions. They're more granular subgroups. So let me finish reading. Small said, okay, there's no leader of ethnicities. There are leaders of cults. There are leaders of organizations. There are leaders of people who create things like social media groups, even if they want to call themselves leaders or not. There are leaders of social movements, like Hitler, Mussolini, anybody. I mean, Nelson Mandela. Sometimes these groups start off because they have a leader and then they actually organize later. Just like ADOS. ADOS said the same thing and then they organized it and they made it official. It didn't make anything different other than they organized and tightened it up a bit or what have you, although I don't agree with them either. But nonetheless, and many of our teachers are working with outdated information and won't come to terms with that. Somehow, I do agree with that statement, but I'm not. But what Small said here was not outdated information. Ask all these teachers and elders who took the jab. Y'all know what the jab means, and that speaks volumes in itself to the real commitment to the community and their alliance with ops. Then people want to ask Unc why he asked that question. You know, they want to ask Unc why he asked that question about the jab the other day. And he said, that's the litmus test. This is so multi-layered. And I agree, Ted. Okay, you said you wanted to say something before I moved on.
That's the part I wanted to bang on. Because I saw the part where Unc used the litmus test also when I got my own, individual view on that. But I think the problem here when he says the idea that the teachers, the elders, the idea that them getting vaccinated means that they don't have commitment to the community. It's so outrageous. Like, I don't mind telling anybody, I didn't take the jab. I didn't take the vaccine. I didn't believe it was appropriate. But I don't believe that anybody that took it, I don't believe that that's a sign of their lack of commitment to the community. It is just a difference of perspective on that issue.
Is that what they're referring to when they say straw man?
That is what he is demonstrating.
Yeah.
Yes. He's literally creating a straw man.
And I'm literally asking that question because I'm not up to date with all the debate terms. I'm just assuming that's what it was being demonstrated here.
And I might be wrong.
Mhm.
I'm aware of the straw man fallacy. I don't necessarily invoke the term a lot because sometimes I'm like, but I'm like, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I just fall back onto now. How would I have treated this if this was, the paper presented to me in the classroom, and I would have been like, look, this
Okay,
doesn't follow.
let me do it for you. Same source.
Okay.
We're going to stick with this. Keep all things equal.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
A straw man is a logical fallacy and rhetorical tactic where someone misrepresents, exaggerates, or oversimplifies an opponent's argument to make it easier to attack and defeat rather than addressing the actual stronger argument. What do you say? You think that qualifies?
Either that or red herring.
Or red herring? Okay, let's look at red herring. Let's look at red herring. A red herring fallacy is a logical error where irrelevant information or a distracting topic is introduced into argument. This sounds better. Into an argument. It sounds like it could be both, but this one I think because Tad, I think he's a little bit more. I think he's on. I mean, I know he's honest. Let me say that. A logical error where irrelevant information or a distracting topic is introduced into an argument to shift focus from the main issue, derailing the conversation and avoiding the original point. Yeah. I think that is definitely a logical fallacy because, and I know the brother sincere, not sincere, but love God, but Tad sincere. And I know this to be true. That's why I always tell people that everybody's not insincere who's in that movement. And people are sincere, but there's a lot of people are sincerely misled, confused. And did you have anything else on that particular point?
No, that was I just wanted to, speak on just that issue of, I mean, you can disagree with, you can even disavow a leader or a community elder or a teacher for any number of reasons, but you should at least do it based upon logic. Like I said, no matter who, because I talked to some elders, my elders was telling me, get the jab. I don't disavow my elders that told me to get the jab because I ultimately decided I'm not going to get it. I don't disrespect the elder for telling me to get it. I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to come to you for advice, or I don't seek your wisdom because I disagree with you on that issue. So again, just to me, it's just more of the same strategy or responsiveness that FBA advocates use when they take issue with one thing, they disavow everything.
So that's true. And then we go here. Hold up. Let me back up. I said that's true just as a way to transition. I want to be precise. That is a tactic, and not all FBAers do that, but it's definitely something in a tactic that we see happening quite often. And I think at times it's intentional and other times it's not, just to give nuance to it, because I think we do have to show nuance, but it is a tactic that is used. Brother Ted says here, I'm wondering why no one has yet to address what he said on these platforms, talking about Baba Small. This ain't about Tariq. If he just have a bigger audience, FBA is not new. We were called freedmen by legal definition. And now there's a cultural renaissance for us FBA, also known as freedmen, where we're gatekeepers of the culture outsiders said don't exist. And Brother Ted and I know that I too agree. I agree on that. I agree
That's
with
not on the
that.
screen.
Oh, I'm
You know
sorry.
it's not on the screen.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm.
Okay, so pardon.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank
Okay.
you for that. And I agree with that. I agree with that statement. That there are cultural outsiders that said it don't exist, but those who said that even more than, I don't know if I can qualify that, so I won't quantify this. So I'm going to say that there's many people here in America that I've heard who also say, and I'm going to say a lot of African, Black Americans, FBAers, whatever you want to call us, also said we don't have a culture. And I've also been in debate with them about us
Mhm.
having a culture. And many more people don't understand the depth of culture, because many people only see culture as dance, music, so on and so forth.
This is true.
Not about survival, not about heritage and survival and passing
Mhm.
on tradition and all these things and the way that we do things for our maintenance, survival, elevation, whatever. That you can't
Mhm.
take culture from a people. That's my argument as well. But many African American, Black Americans, FBA Americans say the same thing because they have no idea what culture is.
Mhm.
Dr. Clark Anderson has said that Barbara Seymour and others have said that this, as well as others have said what? FBA.
That we do have a culture, and other people may not necessarily be recognizing it or
And
something like that.
I appreciate you doing that, because we don't want to do the thing that my man
That
sincere
Sincere was doing.
sincere,
Uh,
because what they would have done is take this and taken it out of context. And what you
right.
just did, you showed that the brother Ted, someone could have taken what he said out of context because it's not very clear from what I'm reading.
Right.
But you understand what Ted is presenting, and you understand what these scholars has also said. So
Right.
that's why, and you're not trying to have a got you on my brother Ted. So Dr.
Exactly.
Clark Anderson has said this, the Dr. Barbara Seymour has said this, and others have said this as well as others. But I get it. Folks are too deeply invested in the ideology, meaning, what I don't.
Now I'm unclear about what he means about that part.
Now,
Too deeply invested in the
again,
ideology.
I'm gonna do my brother good. I'm gonna do my brother well, because I think
Okay.
I know what he means. I
Okay.
think he's talking about those of us, because Ted has been a Pan-Africanist. I would assume, I don't want to mislabel him in the past, but somewhere adjacent, if not a Pan-Africanist. He's saying that we, lots of us, including myself, he would probably say the same thing about me, that we're so invested in African-centered thought, we're so invested in Pan-Africanism or what have you, that we refuse to change. And
Mm.
that boat has sailed, pretty much. And so pretty much he's saying that ideology. So
Okay.
here is a blatant contradiction. So he says, here is a blatant contradiction no one has yet to address and unpack. I see deflection more than anything. So what he's saying is, I'm wondering why no one has yet to address what he said on these platforms. So now the thing is, he just put the video up. He never said exactly what he wanted, but I do
Right.
think people was addressing it, including myself. It may not be the way that he wanted it addressed. So I go on and I follow up with that, and I say, Ted Cromwell, it becomes almost impossible to have real dialogue when we cannot hold nuance. Two people can make, and I'm addressing it directly. Two people can make similar observations, but for completely different reasons and with completely different intentions. When we miss that, we end up calling things contradictions that are not contradictions at all. They are coming from different worldviews, nuance is essential here. And let me be clear. So let me give you an example of what I'm saying here. You can have someone that says, you can have a white supremacist say black people are they're just lazy.
Mhm.
And then you can have a brother and sister who let's say even Pan-Africanists or FBA that say black people are lazy. Now, the intent is different for the most part. White people, the white supremacists is saying that we are inherently lazy, and that's why they should rule over us. The FBA brothers and sisters who are fighting for us and the Pan-Africanists who are fighting for us are saying, you're lazy. Let's get up and do something. Get on your feet. This is a call to order. This is a call for change because I know you have it in you.
Right.
These are different people with ideological understandings who say the same thing but mean something totally different.
Right.
And I said, and let me be clear about something else. I'm always the first one to debate an elder's perspective if I believe they are wrong, including Baba Small. I do not put anyone beyond critique, but in this case, I understand that he is saying what he is saying and what he is not saying. He and Tariq are not making the same argument, even if some language overlaps. Their worldviews, philosophies, intentions, and ideological frameworks behind their statements are completely different. I know this is a lot sincere. Put it in ChatGPT and ask it to make it a little bit more simple for you. Similar words do not mean identical meaning. Once you look at the context, it becomes clear that these two entirely different positions are not contradictions. Dr. Smalls was critiquing Africans on the continent. He was critiquing African Americans here. He was critiquing them in a way to say, no, we got to do better. Y'all African brothers and sisters need to step up. Tariq says they ain't gonna never step up. We don't need to do that stupid stuff. Those are tethers. Look, we need to stop with this coming together shit. So James Small is saying, oh no, I am critiquing you to say we need to do better and come together, even if you said the same words. So that, and my brother here, I think this is Dougie Diamonds. I think. Is that Dougie Diamonds?
Gregory Lewis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's Dougie Diamonds. I don't know. That Ted Cousin is Dougie Diamonds, but I don't know if that's. Now that might not be. Oh, hold up, that might be him because he on his profile, share tab instead. It might be him. You see that?
Yeah, that's what's on there now. Yeah, the top picture.
I don't know if it's my man Dougie Diamonds.
It does. It says that.
Oh, yeah, that's him.
I don't know him, but I know what's on the screen. It does say Gregory Lewis, and in parentheses it says Dougie Diamonds.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's him, right? So, so Dougie Diamond says, so saying one thing one day and then saying something different on the subject another day isn't a contradiction. Especially when it comes to political stances. I get it. It depends on who you're talking to. That's that nuance thing you're talking about. So up means down. When you're talking to people who believe that. Then when you realize it could affect your pockets, down means up. I get it. All just nuance. See, is that a red herring? Is that I don't know what that is.
I don't know if that's a red herring. I think that's I mean, I think that's just, to some extent, it just reads more like an understandable challenge. Like he's disagreeing with what you're pointing out as nuance. Like he doesn't see that. Like what he's saying is, if you said they full of shit on Monday, and then you said they love us on Tuesday, then I don't see that as nuance. I see that as contradiction. And I think what you're saying is, he may have said they full of shit on Monday, but when he said it, if you listen to the whole thing, he said, when it comes to this particular topic, and they're not wanting to help us on this particular topic, even though they may have helped us on this something else, I'm gonna say they full of shit on topic A. But again, if we live in soundbite culture, all that nuance is out the window, because we don't care about the first 30 seconds of the conversation. We only care about the full of ish part. And then we gonna cut off what he said after that and say, see, told you. On Monday, he said full of ish. And on Tuesday, he's saying love, 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 love.
Right. And that is my issue, because if he's responding to me, I actually am saying that I'm the first one to debate an elder's perspective if I believe they are wrong, including Baba Smalls. I do not put anyone above beyond critique. But in this case, I understand what he is saying and what he is not saying. He and Tariq are not making the same argument, even if some language overlaps. Their worldviews, philosophies, and the keyword intentions and the ideological frameworks behind their statements are completely different. So again, the point that's being missed is he's trying to, some way he's clowning it. Honestly, if you, I think you give him maybe a little too much grace, because he makes it as simple as, so up means down when you're talking to people who believe that. So maybe he's not being ignorant. I mean, maybe he's not being smart. I don't know, but maybe he just he's not following this contextually what I'm saying here. Maybe he's not following that people can have my entire 3 paragraphs or 2 paragraphs in totality. And I'm saying that even the example I gave, ideologically, people can say the same words out their mouth.
Right.
But you have to understand the ideology behind what they're saying. I don't care if they said it. I don't care if they didn't say something different the next day. What I'm saying is, you could say something and someone else could say something, and it's coming from 2 different places. And because it's supporting different agendas. Baba Small's agenda has always been about African unity. Tariq Nasheed's agenda is about disrupting that idea that there's going to be Pan-African unity.
100%. 100%.
And so when he called people out for saying y'all don't have our back and y'all stinky this and y'all know what, y'all need to do better. And I mean, he ain't gonna say y'all need to do better. He just gonna rip them a new one. And there's other contextual elements that we have to take into consideration. But anyway, that's just that. And I want to actually let's say close out with this here. And let me see, where is it at? You got anything to say to that, cuz? Why? Because or any closing words?
Well, closing words. I was gonna make a comment about.
You can do all of it. You can do all of it.
Something that somebody was saying, but again, really, just to double down on the thing, like, the idea again is, we're not against, call yourself whatever you want, but come with facts, come with logic, come with sound reasoning. Most everything that we have said here, and if you said in other places, and that I've said in other places, we are critiquing the logical fallacies that keep getting spread and pushed around and promoted as if they are the foregone conclusions and the only authoritative voice on the topic. That's the real issue. It's not a foregone conclusion that Pan-Africanism is dead. It's faulty analysis that the Africans can't stand us. And it's deliberate. Nobody is saying don't, because another thing that they're always pushing Pan-Africanism means that we have to fold and we can't fight for ourselves, and none of that came out of Pan-Africanism. And there aren't any African Americans that have ever had an encounter. If they had an encounter with an African or Jamaican and that individual was disrespectful, they never tucked their tail and ran away because how dare I stand up for myself because Pan-Africanism. No, it's just gonna get into an argument. You was gonna get into an argument. We didn't need Tariq Nasheed. We didn't need delineation. We didn't need FBA isms to make us stand up for ourselves and fight back when there was a disrespectful individual who just happened to have the same skin tone as us, but came from a different state, nation, or culture. If you need Tariq Nasheed in order to put the battery in your back, you already got another problem. That's what
and family, I'm not talking about Tariq Nasheed or batteries. I'm talking about an ideology that a mastermind has created. And I just label it as Nasheedian. I mean, you all can choose the name. I'm being a little humorous when I call it Nasheedian or Tariqism. You can, or Nasheedism. You can choose a better name. But there's an ideology, and that is what I think I submitted here, that there's differences in opinion, a variation of thought, that many FBA people are saying that there's no ideology, it's just a lineage, and I'm lying and I'm making up stuff, and they tried to just debunk me with so many different with AI and all that. And so I said, let me use the same AI and ask the right questions. Let's ask the question. In fact, the very screenshots they sent me actually supported my view. I think I made the case that my brother Sincere to Love God, I'm not sure actually why he's misinterpreting my information, because upon greater review, definitely I said it clearly that I am against the mindset that that FBA or what have you is not an ideology, and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is close out, just in case you aren't clear, because he will never debate the point you're bringing up. He never debated the point when he was in the real discussion. He never, because in fact, when you see a teacher in the room and you see somebody psychoanalyzing, you don't debate real points, because you realize that you above your head, over your head, you might drown. And I think that's a smart move if you're just trying to win a point. But I think I think we should talk it out if we're really trying to build and really heal our community collectively. I'm talking about just the FBA. I'm just talking about what they call FBA, the Foundational Black Americans Community. I think you got something here, but because you got something you're reading, you need to put that up, or you talking?
No, I'm just reading some of the comments in the chat.
Okay.
So
you had something?
Well, Doom Mega said something, but I can't put it on the screen, so I can read it.
Is it this one?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Doom Mega said, I like how Brother Dennis remind us to widen our perspective, and when he says we are living in the house, that should make a lot of us pause and reflect on a few things. We are living in the house. We are on the main stage, and there will be people that's kind of like we've been taught to. That's a divide and conquer tactic. And I understand our brothers like Brother Ted and others who are frustrated because that divide and conquer wears you down, and it has you pointing the fingers at one another, because people literally do things in ignorance. But it is about us doing two things: protecting ourselves, standing up for ourselves, but also understanding the spell that they're under. And I'm going to stand up for us, but I also understand the I also understand that these are my brothers and sisters who identify with the FBA movement. So I'm going to protect Black unity here in the United States within what the group that they identify as Freedmen and FBA. I'm going to protect that's intra unity, and I'm also going to my goal is to fight for inter community unity between different variations of Black people that fall under the term African American, which I think I've shown and proved today that I'm not coming from anywhere. I teach again, and I never used to do this, but I'm definitely going to do it because I teach PhD and master level students these type of things, and I'm saying it's not just me making it up. You know, you got what I'm saying. So this is not new stuff for me. FBA is not in the curriculum, but the way that we identify socially, subcategories, subgroups, and all these different things, these things are really clear. So do some more research, do some more studying. But I heard them say the other day to Brother Unc that that's the white man's information, something like that. That's again, what do you call that? A red herring, or what do you call that one? What's the other one?
What would we say? We said I don't know if it's either, but we said
what do you call it? I know it's a debate tactic. It's called
just the comment of
weaponizing people's emotions is what I would call it. Because
I like that.
anything you throw the white man out there, and it wipes our brains clear of reasoning because we're being re-triggered and re-traumatized in the moment. And that is the way that I psychosocial analyze these situations. And yeah, look out for my book, family. It's coming out in Gia. It's coming out really soon. But let me go ahead and get to this clip here. Did I read the clip? Yeah, I did read the clip. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Is this the one here, y'all? I think this is the one. You see that?
I can see it, yeah.
This is in September 22nd, 2022. I must be clear that my brother sincerely has a different position from a lot of FBA people. And my dear sister definitely does as well. So let's close it out like this.
What's actually being said. You can't argue with the actual ideology itself. So you have to make it something else so that you can have an argument. Because there is no argument about whether we are a unique lineage group or not. You want to argue about the name, whether it's Black or whatever the case may be, but there's no argument that we have a unique history and culture and we are the most influential culture on the planet. There's no argument about that. So you have to turn it into a group or an organization to create these straw man arguments. And you got to talk real loud and real fast and keep changing the subject and bringing it down this way so that we don't get that clarity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he says you can't argue against the ideology, speaking about FBA.
I love how too you slid in there. You were like Tahaka, because you're a foundational Black American. I think you said it like 2 or 3 times, and he was like,
so that's that. And you know what? I gotta do it. Hold on. I just gotta do this in closing, family, because we gotta bring our big brother back out. We gotta bring our big brother back out, and he has to really begin to jump back on the ring. I met this brother some years ago, and I think he was really doing this fight on his own at times. And so let's yeah, I think we gotta. Okay, is something wrong? I can't share my screen. Okay, is this it? Share screen. Okay, we gotta bring my brother back out though, man. Okay, I'm gonna do it like that. Hey, cuz, tell me if you can see my screen.
Let me see. I see it's there, but it's black.
Can you see something now?
I can hear it, but I don't see anything.
You can't hear it, but so this is you'll listen to it. This is a conversation between our good brother last name Africa. What is it? Omawale Africa. You heard of the brother?
I have heard of him.
And he was on that hill some years ago. But I'm just let you listen to parts of this in closing. I'm not going to go through the whole clip, but just listen how he articulates this with a sincere and talking about ideology. Again, letting FBAers know that Sincere being one of the greater voices in this movement. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but it seems so right now. That he's always been speaking of it as an ideology. It seems, I can't say always, but he's been speaking about it for years, because Omawale hasn't been out in a long time on these social media streets in the way he has been. But here he goes.
Another question for you. All right. You made the statement tonight, but I think you make it quite often, because when you said that you wanted to have this discussion, I went and looked at some of your content as well. And this is from a video you did on September the 22nd, 2022. I'm gonna read the quote. There was a video on Taharka Bay. You might be familiar with it. September 22nd, 2022. You said, this was in reference to, you said you were feeling personally offended when people call us followers of Tariq Nasheed. Does this jog your memory a little bit? I'm gonna give you the quote though. But does this follow your memory, jog your memory?
No,
I'll give you the quote. You said here, you said, I have a brain, I have discernment. I know how to cross-examine information. Y'all are doing straw man arguments because you can't argue with what's actually being said. You can't argue with the actual ideology. End quote. So my question for you is, what is the actual ideology? I would love to know, because you stated that FBA is not a group; it's an identity. Okay, so what is the actual ideology? Clarify that for me.
It's very simple. Foundational Black Americans are those of us, Black people here in America, who are descended from the people who built America, the people who were enslaved here in America. We're not immigrants. We're the only group here that are non-immigrants. We're the only group here that is owed a blood debt from the United States government. It's that simple. It's not really complicated. It's not really that complicated at all.
So that's the ideology?
No, I'm saying that's the breakdown of the social term.
I'm asking you, what is the ideology? Because you said that people can't argue with the actual ideology.
Because they make a lot of statements, and you've done it a few times here tonight, make a lot of statements that are not what we're arguing against, something that we're not actually saying.
I'm asking you for clarification right now. I'm asking you, what is the actual ideology? That's what I'm asking you.
It's about specificity. That's all it's about.
I'm gonna put this video.
I'm making it very simple. I'm not complicating it at all. It's about specificity. We are just being very specific about ourselves as a unique ethnic group here in America. Something that we have never done historically.
Okay, bro. Let me.
We have never done that historically.
Just to be clear, right? So this patch that you see right here says African War College, right? It's an institution, and I want to answer one of your other questions, right? The reason why the work that we do what we do in the African War College is work that we've been charged with by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, right? She said that we have a responsibility to make our people understand, see, and confront their true reality. And she said our true reality is that of war, right? That means that we have an enemy, and we have to be clear on who our opponent is, who our opposition is, what their tactics are, what their strategy. These are all things that...
Do you see the difference in thought? Do you see the clarity? Do you hear and see the difference? Am I supposed to put down Pan-Africanist, African-centered thinking for FBA ideology? Which, am I supposed to somehow put it down? Like, this right here is embarrassing. This right here is embarrassing. I'm going to post the video clip on my channel. I'm not going to go into it anymore because I will allow you. Look, I will let you, if you have anything else that you want to say in closing as it relates to that, you please feel free to. And look, we're gonna keep it coming because the reality is we're gonna keep it coming because we need some real teachers out here. Professor Shabazz has showed you how he's a teacher, how he helps his students through the process of education, even when they are resistant to learning. Brother Shabazz has broken down, and he let you know that he understands English, and that even I, who can even mess up some language, didn't mess up in that sense. He clearly look. He and I talk more on here than we talk. Well, I see that brother at family reunions and stuff, and when we go down to the country and in the summertime, and I see him online. So I'm saying we ain't talked before we got on here. You know, we ain't talk. Look, but it's good to talk to him on here though, because he got me by, I don't know if he said a decade the other day. I don't know if you got me by a decade for real.
I'm 54.
You 54? Oh, you almost you kicking maybe about. I'm 46.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you think I look a little. Some people think I'm in my 30s, but but nonetheless, I'm certain they don't think you 54. But nonetheless, he said he can't see the genes, but I know y'all can see some familial similarity here. He can't see it. I mean, this is just the talk we had at our last meetup down in the country. But nonetheless, go ahead, because what you got?
All I'm gonna say is, again, now one, it's funny when he was doing his response video about you. He was saying how he don't understand nothing you saying, and he don't understand how anybody like the word ideology itself makes no sense to him. Now you playing a video where he clearly demonstrates that he does understand the term. But again, what I said was they don't want to have the debate or the real discussion with people because they can't defend it. And so what Omar Wali was saying was, tell me the definition, and then tell me the ideology. Now he's very clear about the definition. It's just a word that describes African American, even though we don't want to say African American anymore. And it describes our lineage, and it describes our ancestors as those enslaved Africans. Another word they don't want to use because they will not say that. They just say the enslaved. So it's just a word. And he says, and Omar Wali says, okay, yeah, but what is the ideology? I just told you. No. You didn't just tell me the ideology. You told me the definition. You told me the characteristics. You told me the traits. But what is the ideology? He doesn't have much for that. And he said, we're the only ones that's owed a debt, and we've never identified ourselves as that. Now, again, I see that as disingenuous. I see that as falsehood. We have always identified ourselves. The bulk of us, there's always been a few people in the African-American community that would say, we don't need reparations. I don't think we deserve or we're owed. I don't believe in reparations. But the vast majority of us have always said we believe in it. Now, there's various opinions on whether or not we're going to get it, whether or not we should get it, how it would come if it does come. But for him to say we've never identified ourselves as this unique group of people with a blood debt, that's an absolute falsehood. And again, that's why I would say, if that was put on paper and given to me, you fail. You're allowed to have a thesis that I don't like or want to hear, but you're not allowed to have supporting details that do not cut the mustard of factual integrity.
Absolutely.
That's what else.
And just so we won't be like him, I don't think he was probably saying that he didn't understand the word ideology.
Okay.
I think he didn't understand, and I could have been corrected if I had said it wrong or incorrectly. I think that he didn't understand the whole entire context of the sentence and subject verb agreement and all. You could tell me all that. Like, he didn't listen to the upfront part. He did actually repeat it, so I'm not sure, because he did say, he said, what is the mindset? what is the
Mhm.
mindset? And I said, I don't agree. What mindset does he not agree with, family? I said, I don't agree with the mindset. I can't remember exactly verbatim that we're not, that FBA is not that FBA is not a ideology. That's what it was. The FBA is not an ideology. That it's not an ideology. I said
Mhm.
it is an ideology. It is an identity with an ideology that backs it, whatever, however I said it then. But nonetheless,
Right.
I get what he's saying. He tried to play games with it, but he didn't even understand what he was playing games with. Like, it was said properly, and I could have said something improperly, and I could have corrected it, because even if you look at the entire episode, he should have realized what my point was. As Brother Cuz said earlier, he said it does, because typically when people, even if they do misspeak, you can they're going to correct it somewhere along the line of the conversation. But in this case, I didn't even misspeak.
Right.
But I did, even if he didn't understand it, and I do see how it can confuse certain minds. But at the same time, I spoke about this throughout the entire process. So again, this might be the insincere. I'm sorry, sincere is insincere.
Insincere.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, cuz I'm tired.
Indeed.
I'm supposed to go in here with Tahaka Bay at 9:45. I'm going to
I
go
love
in there.
Tahaka.
Huh? You love
I
Tahaka?
love Tahaka.
You know what I mean? I think yeah, you know, I didn't talk about Tariq Nasheed saying all people in Baltimore are agents. That's what's that? That's another.
You know, I was watching that. I was watching Tahaka's response to that.
Yeah.
Y'all need to go check out Tahaka Bay. If any brother keep his foot on the neck of the elitist, then it is Tahaka Bay.
Yeah, because I think we did some work today. I mean, I almost felt like this is how you feel when you have a good class in college or wherever you teach at. But you know, I teach at nighttime because I teach graduate students, and I was out late last night with my students for their final class. The class was diversity.
Oh, word.
At the PhD level. And we debate these things, and nuance is real.
Right.
And if you, and it's real and it's needed. And if you can operationalize what you're saying, I can go with you anywhere. But you can't say, you can't remove things and say they're not there when they're there. And what I'm talking about, what is there, two things: the vitriol or vitriotic assumptions, talking points, even what some could argue as pseudo-scientific stretchings of Ivan Van Sertima's works and others. I know we can call, I'm not even debating whether Ivan Van Sertima was correct back then or not. That's not the argument. The argument is that even if he wasn't or was, you stretched it and to make it to what you wanted to make it.
Exactly.
My dear brother, Dr. David Imhotep, rest in power. I think he's from Baltimore. His sister always talks to me. I haven't had the chance to read his work, but I still don't think, from what I know about him, that he would say the things that he's saying. I think he's trying to show and prove this as African presence. I don't know how deep he goes into whether or not saying we were the civilizations. I'm not sure whether or not that's not the argument.
Right.
But what I do want to say is, the argument is we gotta get we gotta go to school, as this was titled today. FBA scholar, sincere love to God, needs some schooling, and we have taken him to school. Brother, you can. This was just a trial course. This was just a course that you audited. Now you can enroll in the full course if you decide to. please enroll. Free tuition on me. Until next time, I'm going to say, family, I'm signing out. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you come on over to Tahaka Bay, and as we talk, you ain't got to do a lot of talking when you're on there with Tahaka. So I think I have enough energy left. And make sure you like and share and subscribe to this video. We gotta definitely do our part here. Share, like, and subscribe, because foolishness will actually take on like a wildfire. What's the other way they say it? Firestorm, something like something. I'm a little tired now. I gotta go and find a way to get a little energy. But nonetheless, family, it will catch on like a wildfire. And so help us do our best in letting this catch on in a way that is not like a wildfire. Well, maybe a wildfire for some of the faulty FBA commentary and doctrine and ideology, but really coming out of those ashes into building us up, those who identify as FBA and our brothers and sisters across the USA and globally. Peace and power, family. Until next time, signing off.
Peace.